Good morning and welcome to episode 8 of In the Morning with Stephen Ferris. And I'm Stephen Ferris, and here for episode 8. Now, what is it today? It is Friday, February 20th for this 8th episode. Skipped yesterday because I was doing some handyman type work in the morning at my church. We're preparing a wall to be lasured. I talked a little bit about that in the last episode. And I got a little bit carried away. I went ahead and there's a door where you go from the vestry into the chapel, and the what do you call it? There's the door frame. And then there's like that little piece that like stops the door or whatever in the frame. And like there was a clear crack between that piece and the rest of the frame. And all the little like nail holes and staple holes on that strip were also visible. And then there was another crack because the wall is fairly thick. And so a regular door frame isn't deep enough to fill that whole space, so they added a strip, and there was a crack there that was visible. And I don't know, my OCD just kicked in. I was like, I can't let it stay like that. So I started looking around. There was also a crack in a corner wall in the chapel. So I was like, I wonder if we have some caulk, because I didn't bring any with me. And by the way, I've always called it caulk. I mean, that's what my dad calls it. We've never called it caulk. A lot of people call it caulk. I'm like, whatever. I just stick with caulk. That's what I was raised with. If it's wrong, it's wrong. Like, I don't know if I want to be right. But anyway, what? We had this big box full of paint supplies. I went in there, I looked in there, kind of dug through it. Sure enough, there was a caulk gun with some caulk in it. Somebody had cut the nozzle back pretty far, and it was all dried out in there. They didn't put any kind of cover on it or anything like that. This doesn't always work anyway, but I was able to dig all that stuff out and get it working again. I made like a sharp tip nozzle just using some masking tape. That worked okay. And I went ahead and just caulked everything and then painted over it. So that all looks really nice now. And I was doing all this because there was a big crack in the wall. And I knew that if we lasured it, like because you're using really thin down paint and building it up in layers, and I was like, it's all just going to fall in that crack, and that crack's just going to get darker and darker in an area of the wall that I think we want it to be lighter. So I was like, we got to fix that. And like I was saying in the other episode, I'm not sure if people are entirely happy with the way I fixed it, but I think it looks pretty good now. If you get up close to it, you can tell it looks a little bit different, but that's the way that wall patches always go. They're never perfect. But I think it's really going to hide nicely once the lasure goes on. Assuming that, I don't know, because it might soak into the paint differently depending on how thick the paint is in different areas of the wall. I'm not really sure, but we'll see. I'm hoping for the best. Anyway, yeah, I went for my walk this morning. I didn't see the red Solo cup. I don't remember. I didn't look for the Walmart shopping cart. It might have been there, but I don't remember. But the one thing that I did see on Wednesday that I forgot to talk about in that episode was this guy. This is interesting. little part of the neighborhood. This guy has grown marijuana in his backyard. I remember one year, I mean, you could smell it from a few blocks away, and then you get up there, and you know, when the plants got really tall, or do you call them trees? I don't know, but you could see them growing up above his fence. But you know, it's legal. I've thought about growing it. I just get worried about people like breaking into my house or my backyard to steal it or something. But I think it'd be fun to grow. I don't even smoke it, but I still think it'd be fun to grow it. Maybe I'll get like one plant or something. And I don't know. I've kind of been introduced to this thing called biodynamic farming, just through being a Waldorf student and being involved in the anthroposophical community. And then I'm like, surely somebody's growing biodynamic weed. Because they have these conferences like around different areas at different farms, and you can go, and they call them bedanks. It's like, of course, they gotta have some bedank dank, right? Anyway, this guy, I saw this on Wednesday. I didn't know it was his on Wednesday, but I saw this. I'm pretty sure it's a 96. I need to look that up. A 96 Chevrolet Caprice, because I'm trying to remember. The Impala came out in 94, and then at a certain point, I mean, the body was basically the same. Okay, 95 has that too. Okay, well, so it could be a 95 or 96. And yeah, 94 still like that. So, if you know anything about the GM full-size cars, you would know that 1990 was the last year for the boxy ones. And then 91, they came out with the bubble body. Still the same frame, basically, but they had the bubble body. And the first few years of that bubble body, for whatever reason, you know, you see it on a lot of modern cars where they've attached the mirror. Well, I guess my Mini Cooper doesn't have that, but it's trying to look like a, you know, it's a retro look. They usually try to mount the mirror right at the apex or whatever of where the A pillar comes down to meet the sill of the door. Because that's a nice sleek look to put it there. Of course, it reduces your visibility right there a little bit. Let's look at a 91 here. Yeah, so I guess but even, yeah, that's weird that they didn't do that. So on the 91 to 94, and on the Cadillacs too, all the GM full-size cars, they mounted the mirror further down on the door, and then it has like this little stalk that comes up. But then for 95 and 96, they mount it on that apex, which has a little piece of plastic anyway. There's no glass there even on the earlier ones, so it's not like, anyway. And so yeah, it's definitely a 95 or a 96 because it has the mirror on the apex, and it also has that little like Hofmeister kink kind of thing, where I guess Chevrolet decided to copy BMW for the Impala. The 94 Impala has that kink too, but then the Caprice didn't. It's you know, it's a much I don't know, sleeker C pillar that comes down. I guess maybe on the Caprice really it's a D pillar because they have that other little window back there too. But anyway, that comes down even in 94, and then in 95 and 96 the Caprice started using the Impala's body too. I guess to cut costs, but also to give the Caprice an updated look. So that was how I could tell it was a 95 or a 96. And do I want to splice those pictures into the episode? I don't think so. Anyway, so you'll have to look it up yourself. But then today I saw he had it in his driveway, and he had like the exhaust cut out, and the front was jacked up off the ground. And some buddies of his pulled up in a Suburban, and they were gonna look at it or something. He's got an old, I think it's a Cutlass, or maybe it's a Buick. I don't know. It's all primered, and a lot of the trim pieces are missing off of it, so it's hard for me to tell what it is. And I don't know the 70s cars as well. I know 70s Cadillacs, but the rest of the GM stuff I don't know as well in the 70s. But a little coupe, mid-size, could be a Cutlass or a Skylark or a Chevelle. I don't know. I know so much about the Caprice from the early 90s, but not so much about the mid-70s mid-size cars. Anyway, and then, I just kept walking, and I think I saw an F-150 that belonged to a business, and I started thinking about getting an F-150 again. And then there's a couple that has an RCSB F-150 that stands for regular cab short bed. I always pass by that. Sometimes it's in their driveway, and sometimes they've taken it somewhere. Or I've seen them leaving or coming home, and it's just so cute, the little thing. 2-wheel drive. I might, if I got one, I might want 4-wheel drive, just because it'd be a useful thing to have. I don't have any other 4-wheel drive vehicles, so but and then on the other hand, I'm like, yeah, but it's cool to have something old. I really like old F-100s, and I like lots of different years. I really like the 57 F-100, 58, and after that it's still the same body, but they went to a quad headlight design. I like the dual headlight design, just one on each side of the 57. I don't know, it's cuter. And I had a 57 Ford Ranch wagon before, so then it's like, it's still 57. But the other years that there's lots of different years that I really like, but I really like the 73 to 75. They had the same front end design on all of those. And then I always forget what year the Super Cab came out, but it wasn't 73. Could have been 74, or if it wasn't 74, it was definitely 75. There's some old marketing pictures of the 70, whatever year the Super Cab came out. It's got that front end, it's got the Super Cab, and it's got the 8-foot bed. It's huge. That's the longest configuration of a Ford half-ton truck that you've ever been able to get. Even the crew cab, if you get the Super Crew F-150 with the 6.5-foot bed, that's still shorter than the Super Cab with the 8-foot bed, because the 8-foot bed is 1.5 feet longer than the 6.5-foot bed, but the Super Crew Cab is only maybe 1 foot longer than the Super Cab. So, and they don't make a Super Crew with an 8-foot bed unless you get into the F-250 or the F-350, or the F-450. But so yeah, so it's the longest one. It's just so long. The proportions look really cool on that. I wouldn't want a truck that long for myself, but it's cool to look at. Then I finished my walk, and I ate the rest of my breakfast, which I finally made my ground fried chicken burger patties. So I got some ground chicken, shaped it into burger patties. you know, breaded it like with the seasonings and everything. It's actually my great grandmother's recipe. And then threw it in some hot oil on the stove and fried it up. And I did like 5 patties. And I also did some French fries, and then I had a bunch of dough and stuff, well, a bunch of the flour and buttermilk left over. And I was like, well, I dipped raw chicken in these, so I'm gonna have to use them now. So I just mixed them together and like threw the dough in the oil and fried it. It was pretty good. I don't think I should eat stuff like that all the time, but it was great. And the flavor on those French fries after frying the chicken in the oil was just amazing. And then I ate 2 of the patties without putting them in a bun, and I bought 4 buns. So then I only had 3 patties left to put in the buns. Dumb, like, I don't know. I think because I made those dumpling things out of the extra flour, I, for some reason, thought that I had more patties than I really did. So then I ate just 2 of the patties. I don't know, they tasted good. And then my cat jumped up on the counter when I wasn't looking and ate half of one of the patties. So I cut off part of it and just gave him the rest of that. I was pissed. Then he peed on my charging cord in the garage last night, and so he's locked up in his catio outside right now. I don't want to deal with him. But yeah, you know, that was pretty much my morning, and I think I'll just end it there because I got to go to the bathroom.